Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. You, I see. Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Oh,
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? This is Joseph Patterson. I'm going to talk to you today about money. Money is a big part of our lives, a big challenge. And I decided to have a little impromptu chat with you about money because so many people are struggling to manage money. People are also concerned about this latest thing called a digital currency, central bank digital currency. How do you respond to all of that? High inflation rates, how do you deal with all of that? So lots of questions, lots of concerns. As you know, I'm a CPA, been studying money for many years and managing my money and other people's money. So I figure I can probably share a few thoughts and ideas with you that can help you improve your own money management skills and get a handle on money in your life. So, hey, big up Mark Campbell. Good afternoon. Good to see you on. Crystal G says, I can't wait to hear this. You better start talking loud about this cashless society. Absolutely. We'll talk about that, Crystal. And Peter White, good to see you on as well. UIC all the way, big up, much appreciated. So tonight you can ask me questions. I can, answer questions you might have about money, about the cashless society, about the CBDC, and also personal money management, how to manage money in your own life, how to solve money issues between you and your spouse. Many times money is one of the number one reasons why marriages fail. So understanding money is critical. I always tell people there are three things you need to know in order to be very successful in life. And those three things form a part of the UIC's education plan, because we really believe that the current education system hasn't worked and isn't working to bring out the best in our people. So tonight we can talk a little about that as well. Good afternoon, flipping pages, stir and sauces. Interesting. Tell me what you do, flipping pages. That sounds interesting. Good afternoon to you as well. She says this is a good time for you to be on. What do you mean by that? Let me know. Good evening, Sewing and Gotcha. I'm actually coming to you live from Toronto right now, where I am getting ready for our town hall meeting that we're going to be having here in Toronto. You might recall we kicked off the first town hall meeting in St. Elizabeth a couple of weeks ago on my farm down there at the head office for UIC. We had our first town hall meeting talking about the issue of constitutional reform. And as you know, the UIC is not big on reform. We're big on replacement. We want to replace this colonial constitution with a real Jamaican constitution, one that is designed by us, for us to realize the aspirations of our people, as opposed to playing with the colonial one that was given to us by the colonial masters and used by them and the PSOJ oligarchy, together with the two colonial parties, to rip us off. And they've ripped us off big time. For the last 80 years, they've been ripping us off using that model of constitution that we must demolish. So we're going to talk a little about that. If you want me to talk about that, we can talk about it. Krista says, that is why your Wi-Fi is good. Absolutely. Even though we did our second town hall meeting in London last week, Saturday, the 13th. And for some reason, that connection turned out to be really, really bad. I'm not sure why. We were in the heart of London and the internet was really bad. And I found that my Jamaican friends who were on, that were local in Jamaica, like Winston and Chase, they had good connection. So I have no idea what's going on. But, every time we come on, something goes wrong. But let's see if Canada gives us a good, clean internet tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Good evening, Naldo, formerly known as Lil Dago. Good to see you on. Thanks for joining. Getting a little call here or a message. Let me see what that is about. But again, tonight we're going to talk about money and anything you want to talk about. So any questions you have, any thoughts you have, anything you want me to talk about, please feel free to just shoot it off and I will try my best to get to it tonight. Let me do a quick plug for our upcoming town hall meeting. We have this one coming up. This is let me do this here. I'm over here. We're going to have the May 21st town hall, this time coming to you live from Toronto. So I'll be here in Toronto at the Jamaica Canada Association, all number 3. That's at 995 Harrow Road, North York, Ontario, M9M2Z5. So just dial 876-471-6598 or send a WhatsApp message to get the Zoom link so that you can be a part of it. So share this with everybody. Tell all your friends and family. If they're here in Toronto, they must come out to see us at the Jamaica Canada Association. That's this Sunday, May 21st, 7 p.m. In Canada, in Toronto. You can watch it live 6 p.m. in Jamaica. And of course, wherever you're around the world, you can figure out what your time zone is and join us for this. So don't miss it. It's the We the People Town Hall. Because what we're trying to say here, let me fix this. What we're trying to say here is this. We do not want a fake republic. We don't want the Prime Minister and his team to just go around the back door, go around the back and change the name of Governor General to President and do a few more window dressing and tell us that we're now a republic. That is not a republic, folks. Don't let them fool you. We need a real republic this time. They tricked us in 1838 with fake freedom. They tricked us in 1944 with fake self-governance. And they tricked us in 1962 with fake independence. Make sure they don't trick us again with a fake republic this time. Whoops, my battery is going. I don't know why. Let me see if I can fix that quickly. So many issues, with these technology. It's plugged in and I'm getting a battery failure. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can fix this, folks. Just a minute. All right, so I'm back with you. Hopefully we don't have any more challenges with the technology. Crystal G says, is there something the PM not telling us? Is it cashless or both cash and cards will be used? Well, Crystal, I can assure you there is something that the PM is not telling you. We have a prime minister and we have a government and we have an opposition that is not working in the best interest of the Jamaican people. So you can't trust nothing at all that they tell you. You can't trust it. What is clear is that the Prime Minister and the two colonial parties are committed to continuing the process of selling out Jamaica. If you notice, since they have taken office from 1944 until now, it's been a downward trajectory for Jamaica. We have lost our agriculture, we have lost our airline, we have lost our airport, we have lost the value of our currency, we have lost the quality of our education. So everything, the longer we keep them in power, is the lower and lower everything goes, Ricky, thank you so much, loud and clear, glad you're hearing. Sewing says, I believe the UIC. I wish the Prime Minister stepped down very soon. Well, Sewing, he's not going to step down very soon. We, the people, have to make it happen. He's not going to step down. We have to move him out. Someone says, what would go wrong if Andrew doesn't call a general election on time? He will call it on time. The laws are set, so he will call it no later than the date which is set for it to be called. That one he's not going to play with. But the law allows him to call election anytime within that time frame. So he will look for the opportune time to call an election when he thinks he can win it, right? But we have to make sure he loses. And it's not enough for him to just lose. We have to make sure that the JLP loses and the PNP loses. And so for that, we have to elect the UIC. And for that, we have to do more than wish and hope and pray, right? So we're going to get back to that. Crystal G says, doesn't seem like he understands it himself. Let me be frank with you. The Prime Minister is not an idiot. The Prime Minister is very, very bright and very, very smart when it comes on to evil, when it comes on to tricking the Jamaican people. He has very skillful people behind him, supporting him and helping him to pull off one of the greatest deception in the history of Jamaica. Just like PJ Patterson and Omar Davis had done in the 1990s, just like Bustamante did in the 1960s. These guys, they have help from sources you would never imagine to fool the Jamaican people. So they're working on it. Okay? So, Flippin says, I'm in Brampton, Ontario. Flipping Pages Stirring Sauce is my platform where I mainly call out Andrew Onus for his violations of the so-called Jamaica Constitution and Mark Holding for laziness. Okay. All right. So now let's get down to the discussion of money, and we'll come back to your comments later on. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about money. I'm going to walk you through some thought processes on the subject and hope you'll find it refreshing and useful. So, all right. Your number one investment must be in you if you wish to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. You cannot be much of a help to anybody, to your family, to your community, or to your country if you're not mentally, physically, and financially healthy. So it's very, very important that you personally invest in yourself, that you help yourself to be fit and proper to serve not only you, but your family and the greater society around you. So it's very important that if you want to have good health, if you want to be wealthy, and if you want to be happy, that you invest in you. That's number one. Now you're going to hear many talk about, and you've seen it in advertisement about investing here, investing there. But your number one investment must be in yourself. And if you invest in yourself properly, you're going to be empowered to be able to invest in your children and invest in your extended family and invest in your community and your country. You cannot serve others if you have nothing of value to offer, right? That's why the UIC created this program where we share with you the secrets to a successful life. We share with you how we can build a better country, how we can design a better constitution, how we can build a country where all of us can live, earn, and retire with dignity. A country that's safe, a country that's clean, a country that's orderly. Now, a big part of all of this is how to earn, how to protect and grow your money efficiently, effectively, and safely. You might be saying to yourself, why is a so-called politician talking to us about this? Normally, politicians don't care about you personally. All they care about is to tell you things to entice you to vote for them. And then when they get in office, they see how much they can rip off before you vote them out, or they can trick you again to get elected. But the UIC is not your typical political party. And I'm not really a politician. I'm a politician by definition, but I'm really more of a public servant. I'm here to serve you, to serve us, to build us up. And so a part of doing that is talking to you about money and your own life, and how you can build a better, brighter future for yourself as an individual and for your family, and by extension, your community and the country. So a part of that is learning how to earn, how to protect and grow the money you earn, so that you can, in your retirement years, for example, live a dignified life. So I hope you don't mind me talking to you about these things. Some people would prefer to just hear the politicking. I'm not really good at just the politicking. I'm really more interested in people and our development as a people. And so sometimes you don't hear me jumping in all the foray and just following up and doing the daily, kind of almost like a gossip column or a just exciting thing about politics. I'm more interested about policy, about how we can solve problems. So I've spent my time building solutions, studying solutions. I've worked with over 120 different countries. I've looked at their system, studied their system, and see how can we build a better Jamaica. I also study personal life. How can we build better lives for ourselves, for our children, for our family. And that's why our education model is not built on passing exams. It's not built on mostly academics. It's built on the total person. So you look at the UIC education model, it's Afrocentric, and it focuses on helping the student understand himself, understanding others, and understanding money. And money is a big topic. Money involves understanding politics, understanding good governance, understanding monetary systems and monetary theory, understanding banking, understanding accounting, understanding markets, understanding law, understanding human behavior. So we're talking about a full package here. So the UIC is really big on comprehensive solutions that will bring out the best in our people. So Flippin says, it's a good time for you to be on because we don't have to shear you with Andre Stevens. well, thanks for saying that. But, the truth is, one has to choose what they want to consume, eh? And sometimes we become too engaged in just the entertainment of politics, as opposed to really focusing on solving the problem of politics, the bad governance. Nuff says, I think he knows that he's not going to win, but there are things that he is rapidly putting in place for unknown and unseen reasons. Hey, bear in mind, right? The Prime Minister doesn't need to win the next election. The laws of Jamaica, as they were set up by PJ Patterson, ensures that when he leaves office, he will get a Prime Minister's salary for the rest of his life. That's the law that PJ Patterson put in place, and none of them have since changed it. They love that law because it says a former Prime Minister must get the same pension as the salary of a sitting Prime Minister. So Andrew bread is butter on both sides. It's we the people who are suffering the consequences of their bad policies and their bad constitution, right? So King Headlam, I'm going to talk about the CBDC in a little bit, so don't worry, we're going to get there. And Sewing says, thank you for your knowledge, Mr. Patterson. What I know now, let me help me to be more grounded, I think you're saying here. Good evening, Christopher Lawrence. Much appreciate the thoughts. So let me continue now on the subject of money. So first of all, invest in yourself, number one. So let me begin by making a disclaimer because sometimes, well, not sometimes, the laws are designed to prevent us from learning what we need to learn. So I have to make a disclaimer about that. So I am not a financial advisor by law. So I have not taken their financial advisory course, even though I've studied what they have studied. I've not taken their course and applied for their license to say I am authorized to be a financial advisor. So what they've done, they have designed a system, you see, to make sure that you only learn and invest the way they want you to. So I have not subjected myself to that. So I have not gotten their license. So I cannot call myself a financial advisor and I cannot give you financial advice. So we have to kind of couch it differently. So the current system is designed for you to only get and take advice from licensed financial advisors who are programmed to tell you what the powers that be want you to know and do. Therefore, I will not be giving you any financial advice, okay? And remember, the government is the one that made us financially illiterate. They're the ones that caused 90% of us to be poor or financially insecure by the time we reach the age of 65 after working for 25 years, often at wage slave labor. So now let us begin our financial journey in this, education process. So once you remember, I'm not advising you, I'm educating you, right? And maybe you can educate us. If you hear me say something that you don't agree with or you want more explanation, please feel free to just raise that and I'll do my best to help. But the powers that be are watching. If I tell you I'm advising you, they will attack me. Yeah, they can even lock me up. And they have designed the system that way because they don't want you to freely learn from others. They want to say they want to protect you, but what they're doing is protecting their system. They're protecting the way they want the economy to go and how they want you to fit into that economy. So they don't want you to learn and know what you should know in order to combat a very fraudulent monetary system. So let me know if you have any questions about that and if you are, comfortable. So Ina says, good evening, Mr. Patterson and all uniters. My biggest concern is losing our beautiful country to foreigners. Well, we are losing it very fast. And for us to turn that around, we have to work very aggressively. Mr. Lawrence says, I hope when you win, you hunt them down and lock them up and throw away the key for being so wicked to their own Jamaican people. Mr. Lawrence, the system of fraudulent monetary policy and fraudulent fiscal policy is quite global. It is a system that has been perpetrated against the whole human race. And our leaders in Jamaica have just followed suit and fall in line and taken us down the rabbit hole. My goal is to empower us to lift ourselves out of it. Yep. All right. So let's continue on our journey here. So as I said before, your number one investment must be in you. And so if you want to serve others, you must first make sure you build your own personal value. Now, I found that the secret to a happy life is first learning how to manage myself. Then I have to learn how to manage my relationships. And then I have to learn how to manage my money. And later on, how to manage other people's money. And all of us touch other people's money. Every time you borrow money from somewhere, that's other people's money you're borrowing. And if you use that money well, then it will be a blessing to you and also a blessing to those who lent it to you. If you use the money poorly, it might be a blessing to those who lent it to you and a curse to you. So as I said before, if you want to be happy, if you want to have a happy life, you need to learn a few key secrets about money. They're not secrets, and they're quite public, but we don't really learn it in school very much, and our parents probably couldn't pass it on to us because they didn't know it either. But you have to learn to manage yourself. That's number one. Self-management is the key. Number two, you have to learn how to manage relationships. And number three, you have to learn how to manage money, your money, and later on, other people's money for you to achieve your most optimal outcome. So let's talk about managing yourself. To manage yourself, you must manage your mind, your body, and your personality in order to achieve your maximum potential as a person, as a spouse, as a parent, as an employee, as a partner, or as an investor. To manage your mind, you need to feed it productive information, a sound plan, and daily instructions to work on your subconscious mind while you take deliberate steps to achieve what are called SMART goals. Yeah, so remember, to manage your mind, you have to feed it productive information. You have to develop a sound plan of action. You have to give yourself daily instructions to work on your subconscious mind. So you need to have, mantras, things that you say to yourself, self-affirmation, things where you remind yourself what your goal is, why they are your goals, and where you want it to take you. Yeah. And then you have to make sure you don't just think and plan. You have to now take deliberate steps daily to achieve SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym for specific. So your goal must be specific. So you must have a very specific goal. I am going to build myself a house by this time, for example. It must be measurable. So you have to be able to say, am I achieving the goal or not? So you must see where you're achieving the objective. What are the milestones? The goal must be achievable. You can't set a goal that is outside of your range of accomplishments, your abilities. You can't set a goal to build a spaceship when you know that that's unlikely given the path that you have taken with your life. You have not studied, calculus and serious physics and serious chemistry to have developed the competencies. So don't set an unreasonable goal. Make sure it's realistic based on your competencies. Make sure the goal is researched. So specific, S, measurable, M, achievable, A. And then the rest of SMART is RT. Make sure it's researched. So you have done some research so you understand what's going on and it makes sense what you're planning to do. So that goal is researched. Then it must be timetabled. So you have set a time frame when you want to achieve the goal by. You may achieve it earlier or later. For example, when I was setting my personal financial goal, one of them was to be financially independent by the time I was 45. I missed that mark. I achieved it when I was 46. And that's not even fully achieved yet, but major milestones was really achieved at that point. And then I have other goals that takes me beyond that. But your goals must be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, researched, and timetable. So that's managing the mind. Then you have to manage your body. You might be saying to yourself at this point, what is this guy talking about? We're talking about money here, and he's saying all of these things, but it's important, very, very important. Good evening, Gregory Reed. Good to see you on. Good evening to all of you. I see Gregory says, Mr. Patterson, could you answer one question for me? Do you see any sense of them giving judges raise of pay and not teacher and police officer? Good question. There's no rhyme or reason to the way that the government manages our government, except for political outcomes to get particular mileage and benefits for themselves. So they appeal to different interest groups within the whole structure to benefit themselves. We can talk about more about that later, right? Crystal says specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timetabled. Very good. Now, you missed one. Well, you say realistic, but realistic and achievable are really the same thing. So I know that's what they say, realistic. So I change realistic to researched, right? So the goal must be specific, measurable, achievable. Achievable means realistic as well. So that's kind of duplication. So change realistic to researched, because oftentimes people set goals without researching them. So they haven't really, they just pick a goal because it feels nice and they want to achieve it, but they haven't researched it to understand it. And when you don't understand what you're trying to achieve, then the goal diminishes in its likelihood of being accomplished, right? So you need to research your goal. What makes this something you want to achieve? Do you really understand what it takes to get there? Do you understand, for example, let's say one of your goals is to start a business. Let's say you're an appliance repair technician and your goal is to open a appliance repair company within the next 2 years. So you have a time frame. It's a specific goal. It's measurable. I achieve it in 2 years. It's achievable because you are currently a technician. So, an appliance technician. So yeah, you could achieve that. But Is it researched? Have you done the research necessary to see what you need to have in place to be able to achieve that goal in 2 years? Some people set goals without researching them, and that increases the chances of failure. A researched goal is a goal that is more likely to be achieved than an unresearched goal. So that's why I have research there in my logic. So think about it. The next thing is how to manage your body. Yeah, so manage your mind. You have to manage your mind. If you have a great mind, you can achieve anything, right? But if your body isn't functioning, it's going to diminish your mind. And if your mind isn't functioning, it's going to diminish your body. What do I mean by that? A person with a good mind is will be supported by a good body. And if you destroy that body and don't treat it well, the mind will diminish also. So to manage your body, you need to develop something very important. The Bible calls it self-control. You might have heard about the fruit of the Spirit before. If you're a Christian, it's 9 elements of the fruit of the Spirit. Very, very important. I love all 9. I mean, I I really respect it. I learned that from the Bible many years ago, and I applied it to myself, and it has proven to be very beneficial. I think it says love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness. What was it? Mrs. Patterson says faithfulness. And then, of course, the 9th one is self-control. So you need to develop the self-control to feed your body at the right time, the right kind, and the right amount of nutrients, water, exercise, fresh air, sunshine, and regular rest. The rest that it needs to support you to be fully in tune with the world around you and to be able to respond to all the challenges effectively. For example, when you're stressed, right, and you're not eating right, in fact, when you're stressed, you might even eat bad. You might just eat in a way that undermines your ability to think clearly, or you might drink excessively, too much alcohol, and diminish your cognitive ability. You could even end up hurting yourself or hurting others. So managing your body is key to being able to manage your mind, to be able to manage your finances. If you disagree with me, please let me know. Challenge me. All right, that's okay. Challenge me, and I'm happy to respond to that. Hey, big up Howard Foster. Good to see you on from Canada. Yeah. So the third thing you have to do if you're going to be effective at managing money, you have to manage your personality. Yeah. Now, what do I mean by managing your personality? Everybody has a pre-programmed personality. It came to you through your DNA that is developed over years because of your parents, your grandparents, your community, your household, the society, the culture in which you were born. It affects your personality. But strangely enough, the personality types that we have is universal. You'll find the personality types in every country, in every family, in every group, different personality types. So it's important that you understand your own personality type. It's also important that you understand the personality type of everybody else. And there are only a few. There are not too many personality types. They're just variations. Some have stronger versions or weaker versions of any given personality type. So you need to understand your personality type and all the other personality types around you if you're going to be able to manage yourself very well. So you have to go about adjusting your own behavior to work harmoniously with people of other personality type if you want to bring out the best in yourself, which will generally bring out the best in others. If you bring out the best in yourself, you'll bring out the best in others because everybody else respond to you the way you respond to them. And you respond to people the way they respond to you. But if you have a good control over your own understanding of your personality and other people's personality, you can actually change the way you respond to others, even if they don't respond to you appropriately. Yeah. It is at this point of your personal development where you will develop your greatest asset, which is your character. Now, your character is your number one asset over everything else. If you develop your character the right way, you'll be a master of your mind, a master of your body, a master of personality, a master of money. Okay? So your character is your attitude towards life, people, and problems. That's it. Very simple. Your character is your attitude towards life, people, and problems. Life, people, and problems. Your character determines your credit score. So if you have a bad credit score, it's because you have a bad character. I know it sounds harsh, eh? You might be like, oh my gosh, Mr. Patterson, don't say that because I have a bad credit score. But the truth is, if you have a bad credit score, it's really because you have not developed your character properly. Why do I say that? People with bad credit scores have some bad habits. One of those is they don't have self-control. So they will borrow money beyond their capacity to repay it, and then they get into trouble. Yes, you can have a bad credit score from a bad situation outside of your control that damaged you, but most times, 99% of the time, it's not from some external forces. It's you. It's your own choices that leads to you having a bad credit score. Sorry if I step on your toe. I'm just telling you the plain truth. All right, so don't kill me for it. I just want you to learn and understand. Right, Miss P? How's the food coming along? Okay, good. So she's working on dinner, so we'll soon have dinner. Anyways, so your character is your attitude towards life, people, and problems, and your character determines your credit score, which is only a financial indicator of your honesty, of your integrity, of your accountability. People with high credit scores are trustworthy individuals who honor their financial obligations. They can be trusted with much because they've been faithful with little. So, that is the beginning of you managing yourself. When you manage your mind, when you manage your body, when you manage your personality, when you develop a good character, which, by the way, leads to you having a good credit score. Again, if you disagree with me, don't be afraid to shout it out. Say, hey, Mr. Patterson, you are wrong. Here's why. And I'm more than happy to learn and listen from you. Now, the next thing you need to do, you need to develop managing relationships. Relationships are the key to your prosperity. And by the way, remember, if you deal with the others, if you deal with the mind and the body and the personality, you're going to be able to develop very good relationships. When you have a good command of your personality and that of others, together with a good attitude, you'll be able to characterize each situation properly and optimally. Yeah. So you can manage how you respond to conflicts, changes, and challenges. This affects your marital relationships. It affects your parental relationships and how you deal with other family members, your friends, and your acquaintances. It also affects your employment relationships, your professional relationships, and your business relationships. The truth is, life is really a team sport. I know all of us think we can manage on our own and we're okay on our own. We don't need nobody else. We can do what we want. The truth is, life is really a team sport. Yeah. And only those who can effectively work in teams will succeed at the outstanding end of life spectrum. It's a spectrum in life. So some of us will be mediocre, average, somewhere in the middle, and some will be, lousy, and they're going to be at the failing end of the spectrum. But those who are going to be outstanding persons, outstanding individuals, are those who can work well with other people. If you can't work well with other people, you're not going to be outstanding, right? And that's just plain. You can look at in sports, for example, you see like a Usain Bolt or Shelley and Fraser and say, but they do well as individuals. No, they had to be able to work well with their coaches. They had to be able to take instructions, learn from others, listen, take criticism, If you're an athlete and you can't listen to your coach, remember he's watching you or she's watching you. They see the mistakes you don't see. So when you're in the starting blocks, maybe your start is poor because you're not holding your head down long enough coming out of the blocks. Maybe you're not lifting your knees properly. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on one side or the other, so you're not getting the kind of balance you need to cut through and really, cut down on the time it takes between each of your strides. But you have to be able to listen to your coach, and maybe you feel within yourself that you're doing it the right way. That's fine. But will you give yourself the chance to hear what your coach is saying and try something different and see if it changes your start or changes your time and so on? So just remember, life is a team sport. You have to work with others. In your marriage, the husbands and wives who work well together are wealthier. Husbands and wives who don't work well together are poorer. Parents who have good relationships with their children, the children does better. Parents and children who don't develop solid relationships, the children turn out less than optimal. So it's all a matter of how good are you in managing relationships, and that doesn't come naturally for many of us. We have to learn. Yeah. How about business relationships? Many people remain solo for the rest of their lives. They want to start a business, they want to develop a business, but they just don't know how to work with other people. They don't have the patience. They don't have the reasoning skills. They can't share responsibilities. They can't share profits. They are too self-focused that they can't see the other person's point of view. They don't understand their lane. They can't stay in their lane. Let's say you're two partners in a business. One of you are better at the finances. One of you are better at sales. But the finance guy wants to do the salesperson job, and the sales guy wants to do the finance person job, and so they're at cross purpose. Or they don't understand each other's role and start to feel like, oh, well, I'm doing more than you, or you doing less than me, and they get off on the wrong foot. Yeah. Good night, JJ. Welcome to the talk. Hope you enjoyed. We're talking about money and how you can improve your personal life and be better at managing your finances, your relationships, yourself. All right. Okay. Carl Black says you need a network to point out your blind spots. Teamwork indeed. Absolutely, Carl. So having a network is great. Meeting up with other people, building a team for your business. So sometimes many businesses fail because you might be good at what you're doing. You might be very good. Let's say you start a restaurant. You can cook the best food. Maybe you have a lovely congenial personality. So when your customers come in, they feel good, and when you just have a good relationship and things are going and your restaurant is bubbling. But you end up every month finding that you just can't meet the expenses. You're always just a little bit too behind on paying the bills, and you start now to skimp on ingredients, so you start to probably sell some stale food because you're trying to make up the difference, because guess what was missing from your team? You did not have a good finance person. So you weren't managing your costs properly. You weren't managing your cash flow properly. You couldn't design and develop a proper accounting system to capture data so you can get reports that gives you the right kind of information, your cost per plate, what your ticket volume is, and for you to understand your business enough so you could then make alterations and adjustments. So you're missing that one member of the team that would have brought that to the table, which would have made your business that much more successful. So you're missing that key piece. But you have some good piece. You're good with people, you're good with the food, but you're poor with the financial planning, poor with the financial management, poor with the reporting. You might even be poor with your government compliance. So you need some help there. And because you miss one of three things, for example, your business collapse. Even though it was a great idea, you were a great person, you could have done very well, but you didn't build a team that would help you to achieve the objective. 5 minutes? Okay, so I have 5 minutes to dinner time, guys. So I might have to cut this short, but let me know if it's meaningful for you. So Carl says they can't put aside the ego to allow things to work, too self-concentrated to work in a team. Absolutely. And all of us have blind spots there, so we have to be really careful, right? How we can work together as a team to make this happen. So continuing our discussion here. So once you have done, remember the first part, manage yourself, yeah? Then now you're managing relationships. And the third element, managing money. To manage money effectively, you need to understand and pay attention to politics. Yay, believe it or not, that's so true. If you do not understand or pay attention to politics, you can't manage money effectively. Trust me on that. Why do I say this? Take, for example, the banks that failed recently. Why did they fail? Many of those banks failed because they did not pay attention to the political changing of the winds, which resulted in the government in the US changing to a high interest rate regime to combat the inflation that they deliberately created by virtue of putting too much money into the economy for political reasons and other reasons. So because if they weren't paying attention to the politics of money, they would miss that and end up investing too much of their money. Okay, investing too much of their money into a uh, government bonds, not realizing that if you invest so much of your money in long-term government bonds while making short-term financial commitments, that will create a disparity between the two, meaning the value of those bonds are going down. Why? Because they're worth less, because government has issued higher interest bonds now by pumping up interest rates. And so you're going to end up having short-term commitments that are greater than the benefits of your long-term investments. And so not paying attention to politics caused those banks to collapse. So if you're going to manage money effectively, you need to understand and pay attention to politics. You also need to understand and pay attention to economics. So what is economics? You have to understand the laws of economics. No matter what they tell you, no matter what the pundits or the newscast or the entertainers in the economic space may pronounce, you need to understand the laws of economics. What drives demand and supply? Economics is like the study of gravity. The laws are very fixed. No matter what they tell you, the laws are fixed. For example, if government pumps money into an economy in excess of the economy's ability to produce, to match that money, you're going to have high inflation. That's a given. It's like the laws of gravity. You throw something up within the context of the earth, if you don't escape the gravitational pull, it's going to come back down, right? So you have to understand the economics of money. Then you have to understand laws. Laws affects the way we behave. It limits and or inhibits, or it allows. So you have to understand the laws under which you're working. You have to understand taxes. Tax laws are critical. So if you're making an investment decision, you need to know which decision is more tax efficient. If I go this way, I will pay less taxes, which will mean greater cash flow that I can invest in other areas and increase my overall return. If I invest this way, I'll pay too much taxes, so I need to do it differently. You also have to understand monetary and fiscal policies. That's also related to politics. Monetary policy is the system of how money is produced and circulated for the economic engine to work. Fiscal policy has to do with government spending and budgets and what that means. You know, government deficits means more borrowing, and that has its own consequences. Government surplus means less borrowing, and that has its benefits. So you have to understand those. Without this base of understanding, you won't make good financial decisions. Instead, you're going to be gambling. You're going to be guessing. Yeah. And once you're guessing, it means you're opening yourself up to a whole lot of unnecessary risk. Most time people talk about an investment being risky. It's not the investment that is risky. It's the investor. An investor who is ignorant or uninformed or less informed than he needs to be is a high risk investor. He is exposed to more risk because he doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't know enough about what he's doing. An investor who is educated and informed or who has insider information, for example, has less risk because he fully understands the product, understands the situation that he or she is dealing with. I hope that's making sense to you and you're finding this valuable. Yes, Carl, tax law is a major one. You can lose a big chunk of your net worth due to taxes and inflation. Yes, so you have to master that. You also said facts. Economics is highly important. Just complete a macroeconomic course and can't tell when leaders are lying. Yes. So if you understand economics, you can't be fooled by politicians, right? You can hear what they're saying with their lips, but you will understand what it means for you and for your country or community in general. Dree Morris says the other day them a print a new money, now them digital. Yeah, exactly. And that has its implication. For example, when they move digital with money, it means they're going to be able to pump far more money into the economy in a shorter period of time, which means in no time they can blow the value of your purchasing power. I mean, the CBDC is going to give government globally, like the US global and local, they're going to give government globally the ability to wipe out your purchasing power faster than the speed of light. Right now it's harder because they have to, the way it works now, it takes longer for that, for the impact of that money printing, if you will, to seep into all areas. So for example, initially you saw the high inflation or hyperinflation in housing prices. Now you're feeling it in, then you feel it in gas prices, then you're feeling it in food prices. In the new, when they go fully digital, bam, they can print money so fast that you don't know what hit you. So yesterday you got your paycheck and $100 could buy you a soft drink, and tomorrow they can't even buy you a sweetie. So we're in for hell when they finally put that system in place. No, that's the easy side. It's worse than that. When they put the digital currency in place, the government will be able to, for example, put a time limit on your money. So let's say they're giving you a stimulus check like they did the other day. They could say, here's a stimulus check. You have 30 days to spend it or it's gone. They can also say, I'm going to control your money. Ready now? We're going to control your money based on your behavior. So if they don't like your behavior, for example, let's say they want to inject you again, and you say, no, I'm not going to take the injection. They said, okay, no problem. You will not be able to spend the money in your account until you take the injection. Full stop. We don't have to go around with your employer or playing. They can just do immediately whatever they want to do. Once they fully control your economy the way they're planning to, it's complete loss of your freedom. Complete. Done. Yeah. Antonio Bird says, Andrew, it's all a part of the plan. And Carl Black says, how do they plan digital currency? There's no proper infrastructure in place. And don't worry, they're not worried about proper infrastructure. They plan to get this thing done. The infrastructure is not the problem. It's your freedom that's the problem. It's a loss of your freedom, a loss of your ability to do anything unless they give you permission to do it. Yeah. Burnett says, do you support a 100% digital currency economy? Burnett, the issue is not digital currency. The issue is having a governance model that allows government to violate your rights. So if your rights are not being violated, if you have what the UIC call a true republic, and in a true republic, your sovereignty is fully and 100% protected from the government, you can't have anything. You can have a fully digital currency because your rights would be protected. But to have a 100% digital currency that allows the government to infringe on your rights and your privacy, no, that is the problem. Yeah. So Carl Black says they basically control your money. That's dictatorship, social credit score, etc. Welcome to the World Economic Forum agenda. Absolutely. Good afternoon, Doreen. Good to see you on. Thanks for joining us. Digital is like a credit card where everyone in government can keep track of you and your money. Absolutely, Silver. So digital is not the problem. It's having a system that is corrupt, a system that allows government the right to violate your rights, to give government that power. That's why the UIC is so important. We want to stop government from having the power to infringe on your life, liberty, or property rights. If you don't have that, then having the so-called CBDC with its programmable feature and which allow government to print money at will and to manage your choices and to limit your choices and to control your choices, that is the problem. Yes, Markery, 1984, George Orwell. Yep, that's where we're heading. Good thing is, we don't have to head there. If we come together and join hands in the UIC and fund this party and help us to win the seats in Jamaica, we can overturn this. But the longer we take to do that, if we allow them to win and put all of this in place, then they will lock us off. So, for example, you can't donate to the UIC then, because I said, no, you can't donate. The UIC is a terrorist organization. You can't donate to them. So when they get this in place, Jamaica has no more opportunity. The UIC is our last hope. When this is done, the next time they have the so-called pandemic stuff or whatever, no protest, no nothing. Because they'll lock off everything. You can't spend any money to do any protest. You can't do anything. So we have to act fast to stop this from happening. But we're going to stop it there for now. In our next talk on money, I will go through the rest of the topic. We'll look at, the other areas, such as, the politics, the economics, the market and business element, and my approach. I'll walk you through my approach and how I deal with my own personal life and investing. And then I'll teach you how to become an investor, how to make good investment decisions, and so on. So we'll talk about that in our next session. But please remember, come out on May 21st, 2023, 7 p.m. right here in Canada, live in Toronto at the Jamaica Canada Association. I'll be there in person. So if you're here in Canada, please come out. I'm here for a short time. I was in the UK last week to do the town hall there in London. I'm here to do the Toronto town hall. And then we're going back. We're going to have our next town hall in Jamaica as we go from parish to parish. We the people for a real republic, not a fake one. We are going to take back our country. We are going to make sure that Jamaica is the last free nation on earth. And so let's join hands and make it happen. Do not allow them to rob you and your children and grandchildren of your freedom. Thanks again. Have a good night. Until next time, remember, one Jamaica, stronger together. Take care. Oh, by the way, give us a rating now. If you rate this 100%, let me know. If 50%, let me know. If 0, let me know that too. So just rate the program and tell us what you think about our presentation tonight. And if you like it enough, I'll do more and explain more about money and to help you and your family and all of us to be healthier and wealthier for the benefit of our children, our grandchildren, and our country. Have a good night. Until next time. See you on the 21st of May for We the People, for a real republic and not a fake one.